Yes, thank you, Teslim. He laid a very wonderful foundation for this discussion. And of course, the topic is very clear. Our role as civil society patrons or practitioners, how have we helped in promoting democratic norms? And really, I would say from my own end, as my own opening remark, that the activities of the civil societies, particularly the media, have really helped in promoting. Before the second or third republic started in 1999, we saw those who were, how do I call it now, who formed the nucleus of the political parties. They were all charlatans and people of no real educational background as it were. But today, because of activities and activism of civil society groups, professors, doctors, engineers, lawyers, professionals of the highest order and very brilliant ones are now involved in political process. Time it was that people would say, oh, no, politics is dirty. We don't want to play politics. We don't want to be involved. And as a result, they leave the space to those who are less educated and so on. I remember Matthew Cooker, that Reverend Father, talking about Nigerians leaving the political space for third class people, while the first class and the second class people go to the banks and to the various industries, which is true. So if you leave third class to those who are to manage our life, then definitely they will mismanage it. And we have seen that happen in several places. And today's topic wants to see how we can improve the capacity and the ability of those who are involved in the political process, particularly political party officers and those who hold political offices. I will now go to our guest. From my immediate right, I have Mr. Ishaya Ibrahim. Ishaya Ibrahim is with the Niche. He's the news editor of the Niche. And right to my immediate left here is Akintunde Adedeji. He's a human rights activist. And of course, we have that Dankanu that he said is not the the one that wants a 1 million match for Abacha, but he is the original Dan Kanu, who is a true Nigerian, who wants Nigeria to be a better place. He is the editor of the Nigerian News Mark. And together we are going to look at this topic today dispassionately. And I'll start with Dan. You've had the intro, and of course the epilogue by the introduction too. So what do you have to say concerning that?
Well, Mr. Wale, you can see that the issue has been settled even from the main picture analysis that we had, on the crucial role the civil society plays dealing with the press. I think for me, if you look at it in political process, one of the key things they do is, promoting, citizens' participation in politics.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones that, they promote it, they create awareness for citizens to be part of the political process. And aside from that, you still find out that as our human rights activists, they are also the ones, that also produce a platform. You see them, creating or following injustices, in areas where injustice has been projected in the political system. You see them speaking out. They will not keep quiet. So, and they also provide, platforms for minorities. In most of these civil societies, they have different things that they do aside from the political process. There are some that are concerned in agriculture. You see them, reminding government when government is not giving a balanced issue on it. So there are a lot of things, and you also see them, for me, building bridges, reminding government of certain things that they do. When they build bridges, create collaborations with government and all those. So most of these are some of the issues that they tackle. So for me, the activities of the civil society very, very crucial, because you can still find out that you also hold governments accountable on issues. They ensure that there is good governance. If at any government and you think that you are not doing so well, you have them to contend. You have the human rights to contend, and that is why they are always there. You can see them, trying to put you on your feet to ensure that you deliver on your mandate.
Yes, delivering on their mandate. Akin, obviously, most of the time we see the political class deviating from that mandate. They came, asked the people for their mandate so as to do one or two things. And it is because of that mandate that they got elected. For starters, there are several options open to the to the voters. So out of the numerous options left in terms of the political parties that are on ground, they now decide to give their mandate to somebody with the expectation that that person will carry out that mandate or promises that he has made to its full reality in terms of the provision of dividends or making dividends of democracy indeed get to those people. Why is it that it has not been so, despite the activities of the human rights community?
Well, first and foremost, let me thank you for having me on this program. And just as the first speaker rightly said, we from the civil society basically, are the watchdog. And our duty and responsibility are clearly defined to make sure that, the political class, are put, under check. They just have, to conform with what is ideal in the society. Each time, some of those, who are about to derail from what, we can call the norm, we must, put them and with them into line to make sure that what is obtainable, within an ideal society, is done. And, the dividend of the democracy that should be accrued to the electorate, are optimally achieved. And we have seen, in several instances whereby, we cannot rule out, self-centeredness, of this political class, that by the time they get to power, they are there, to do their selfish dealings, and the few clique who ensure that, they grab power. But we always we are always circumspect, conscious of all this, attitude of the political class. And we always ensure that, the right thing, as at when due, should be done and not be done. And in doing this, I cannot rule out the fact that with the synergy of collaboration between the civil society and the fourth estate of the realm, I think are quite intertwined. Mm-hmm. Because it's a kind of symbiotic partnership or relationship whereby they are the one that will assist us in making sure that all our activities are disseminated to targeted audience. I think that's just it.
Okay. Mr. Ibrahim, you indeed have been involved in the activities of the estate, journalists covering political activities from 1999 to date. Can you just give us brief info? Has there been a progressive development, or is a regressive one?
Okay, let me go back before that period. Let me say when the first newspaper got published, the Way on You, by the great Reverend Henry Townsend, in 1959, there was a lot of evolution in the media space. That period, because the paper at that time was centered around promoting Christian faith. So that was not controversial. But let's look at the pre-independent era press, where we had publications like the Western Pilot, Nigerian Tribune, which is still very much around since 1949. So that's very impressive that the newspaper could be that long years times. There were a lot of attacks from the colonial government to suppress freedom of speech. Because the ruling class is the same. In Nigeria, in the UK, in the US, every part of the world, the ruling class is the same. And they would prefer not to have the media and civil society. They would think that these people are only threat. Their own definition of patriotism
We are busy.
is that you are criticizing. So that's their own definition.
And
They are the ones in power that are most patriotic.
they know.
But it's not true. And because the job of the media and the civil society is a thankless job. So it's a job you do because you want society to be better. And they are remunerated, excessively taken care of. Yet, they put a lot of stumbling blocks on the way of civil society and the press. The first attempt to clamp down on the media and the civic space was the Newspaper Ordinance Decree of 1902. And then it was further taken to another step by the Seditious Offense Ordinance of 1909. And we remember that Herbert Macaulay was in prison for 6 months because the colonial government said he published what was a rumor. Now, fast forward to the Buhari Decree number 4, where they said any publication against the government or against public officials that is deemed to be embarrassing is an offense. So many journalists were hung and thrown into jail. Then there is this Cybercrime Act that we're still dealing with, 2015. There's a particular section 24 there, which said to give the idea that if you publish anything that causes annoyance, imagine, and people could be annoyed for any reason.
Yes.
You know, somebody don't just like your face, they could be annoyed for any reason. And we have the political class populated by people whose egos are oversized. So what will annoy them is not necessarily any serious thing. Then there was an attempt to now say, okay, let us even retouch this thing. After all, we have people like Bayo Onanuga in government. Don't forget that the news magazine, which Bayo Onanuga published, was branded as a terrorist outfit by the Abacha government.
Yes.
So you would think that with his influence in the inner circle of Tinubu, there would be some free speech
regime.
Regime. That law has a lot of also losing, which people have been capitalizing on. Because is there any publication that could tend to cause a breakdown of law and order? And the police, any petition that police receive, independently they receive from their friends, could be interpreted. And so many journalists have been hounded. So you have a problem where the political space is being attacked systematically, as if the attempt is to protect the public good, but it's not. It is to protect the elite apparatus.
Yes.
So that is where
that's the problem. This small screen using the state apparatus as small screen to defend personal interests or some group interests. And that's where the issue of human rights violation comes in this discourse. I'm a rights activist equally, and I know what we are going through. 2 weeks ago or so, a young man was standing in front of his father's house, and the police were going the street. And he just decided to stop, call them into the car, and now decide to embarrass them by taking them to the station and telling them that they should pay 100,000 naira each before, 200,000 naira each before they are released. and these are 7 young guys who just stand in front of their parents discussing boys. Just like that. It took effort of some serious engagement before they were released. And of course, the parents eventually told me that they didn't leave without paying some money. And that so one of the many things. In fact, I was in Jos 3 days ago. My wife took one of our cars out, and some VIO had the temerity of stopping her, telling her that her brake, the lights at the back got broken and that they will arrest her for that. Anyway, on the phone, I dealt with the issue. But you can imagine, if I wasn't the one, and you can imagine so many innocent people that these people in uniforms fall victims because they just have form to use to oppress people. I don't know, maybe any one of you have such experience to relate to Nigerians. You will have many of such reports coming to you. Do you have any that you can just relate to? So that our people will know the essence is that these people in uniform overstep their bounds. They are not doing things in line with the law. They overstep their bounds most of the time doing things illegally. Because at the end of the day, I told her, put the phone in speaker when the man did not want to talk.
You forgot that you came to my rescue in 2019. But Mr. Wale Oguade came to my rescue. When my sister and children were just hounded by policemen and taken to.
That was in Kaduna.
Lagos,
He got one of the lawyers who had connection with all the police officers, and he called the DP and said, "Please free those people immediately." And that was what happened.
It's what you are saying is, I've had an experience. In fact, when I was living at the Jibo, one night I was around 9 o'clock or so, coming from the newsroom at Sele, just there, before you know, the police will rise up everybody. Even I was telling them that I'm a journalist, even with my ID card. They handed us inside the vehicle and straight. In fact, they were already putting us behind the bars at that night. If not luckily, I had to call, one of our journalists that covers crime. That was John Patrick. So rest in peace. He was the one that I called the commissioner of police and most of them. That's how they now came and said, "Who's the journalist that is here?" And that was how
they freed
me. But more than 20 other people I knew slept there. And there was one I knew. The next day he paid so much. It's all of them paid too. And most of them, as I know, most of them that they did nothing. So most of these type of injustices, we're always witnessing it. And it's very pathetic.
Very pathetic. Let's have your own.
I recall vividly, because we had numerous of, these excesses of these state, agents. But the one, that really, I can recall that really comes to mind now is not quite long ago. It has to do one of you, a media practitioner, well known, and I won't mention names. So she was apprehended by this task force operatives for doing nothing, and her car was impounded and taken to Alausa. So one of the senior comrade now just gave me a call that, comrade, please, what can you do for me in respect of this journalist whose vehicle was impounded. So I just put a call across to their chairman, the incumbent chairman, that's accurately. So then he is instructor, his voice. So the woman now went to where the car was parked, and after she secured the release of that vehicle, she now explained to me her experience, practical experience, what she saw there, how this law enforcement just were collecting money. But our own case was exceptional. They couldn't do anything. So I've lost count of how many. We are talking of our conventional police, the case of their excesses, the abuse of power, injustice, meted out to innocent Nigerians. And when we had to deal with that, I think, there was a time, they used to call us that, we are visible just, and now that, we preclude, we are, medicine in Chalupa. That we're medicine in Chalupa. So, I have had an encounter, with, a former, DPO in Ogun State, who told me that, don't you have a job? You jump enter, from one, I said, for your information, I'm a professional. I'm a chartered civil engineer. But if I don't have any business in any police formation, I wouldn't have come. So he was, in fact, his subordinates were so mesmerized that, the way, I engaged him, he was highly embarrassed. So, numerous of such, injustice and excesses.
Numerous of such injustice and excesses. But again, despite the political developments, despite the intervention of the media and the civil society, is still growing large. And the reason why it's growing large is what we'll look at the next segment. We'll just go for a short break and we'll come back and of course we'll get on our homework now. Don't wait. Welcome back. We've just been joined by Declan, the hair carry. Declan, the hair carry, is a human rights activist equally, and we just want to weigh in into one or two of his own little ideas about the violations of human rights in this development. Then we now move further, seeing how we can solve all these issues. Declan, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Your little perspective in terms of human rights violation, particularly as involving your own activities.
Yeah, I think most of the time we have a lot of violation coming from the state actors, and it's quite unfortunate. I overheard someone talking about the VIOs and sometimes the road safeties, where they will stop you and tell you that your rear light is not working, and rather than putting a corrective measure by probably giving you an opportunity to go and work on it, they will penalize you, fine you. And sometimes they have done that to me, and I came down and I challenged them. I said, look, I'm not a spirit. How will I have known that my rear light is not working, neither my brake light is not working? Your duty is to tell me, and now you have told me, I will do the needful. So it's quite unfortunate that we're in a country where you have a lot of impunity from most of these people on uniform. And I think it's time for the government to work around them and make sure corrective measures are taken against them.
No. Let's look at it. That's the problem. Government, they are government. Those who are involved, let me learn. So that people understand, those who are in authority. Yeah. Those who are in authority, don't forget, they use them equally as instrument of terror to oppress their opponents and their perceived enemies. No. So how can they call them?
No, let me just come in. See, most of the time, most of these operators on the road are not doing that. They're not doing it rightly. And when you stand your ground to reporting such officers to the higher authority, actions have been taken. So I will not allude to say that the authorities are aware of what they are doing.
Okay,
and that is why you have complaint sections in every of these organizations. So it's quite unfortunate. But I think our appeal to Nigerians that rather than always be in a hurry to settle, to give unnecessary bribe.
I like that one. That settle is why.
You understand?
Unnecessary bribe is okay. Everybody understands that.
You understand? So the best way to discourage such people like I have done and I'm going to keep on doing is to create time. I create time.
It has happened.
I create time to make sure that I address such abnormality. Is when they see you in a hurry that they will tell you, they take advantage of you, they will tell you, oh, we'll find you, we'll go to court, you go to that, you start looking for a way out, forgetting and all those things. And the government also should also address all those aspects. There are things you correct citizens, and there are things you append citizens. For instance, if you have a tire and your tire is worn out, you should know that your tire is worn out.
Yeah.
It's something you can see.
Yeah.
But in a situation where your rear light or your brake light is not functioning and you are being stopped, I think that is wrong. And there was even one I saw a few days ago. A road safety stopped a CRV car, and they said he has extra light, fixed in front of the vehicle. And I said, come, are you contravening? They say it's a contravening. I said, well, now you need to do more work. Probably you have to go and stand at Lagos Ibadan Expressway and see most of these vehicles going to long distance night buses, and you see all those lights on them.
Yes.
They are doing all this to see properly. And you are not saying that light is wrong, that they should go and work on the main light, and the main light can even function well, because it cannot even function well. It cannot even be as bright as. You understand? So there are lots of things going on that law enforcement agencies take advantage of. One. And again, our court also enables them to do such. Yeah. In a situation where you see policemen just go on the street and raid people, they take them to the station, detain them. First the second day, they ask you to bail yourself. I refuse to bail yourself. They tell you, oh, we're taking you to court. Because you wouldn't want to go to court and say ask you, are you guilty or you're not guilty? You say you're not guilty. You're not guilty does not mean the magistrate will tell you to go home. You'll be giving bail conditions, and of course you will meet those bail conditions. You'll be remanded in prison custody. So what will you do? You settle.
Okay. Yes, it's even in the book of the law. That's the Bible.
That's it.
In the book of Matthew 25,
Fine.
25,
Yes.
that you quickly settle.
Your adversaries before
they take you to before the officer, and before the officer takes you to the court,
and the court takes you to the prison. That's
very,
it.
very smooth. So we are not, may not be me talking.
I know a Bible.
So my brother, let us look at this little one. Breaking democratic norms. We've observed it in the Nigerian political space, happening here and there. It has refused to go. In fact, the issue now that is on now is this coalition thing. Is that how things should be done? Is it only in Nigeria that you have democracy? That people just break norms, democratic norms, just with impunity, with audacity, and without morals?
Well, Wale, my worry is that, our politicians or our leaders, they have this arrogance in them.
Please, sorry to button. Please, we have a number. Please, let the engineers flashing on the screen. You can just send the text, please. I beg of you. No call. I will not take your call, so don't bother calling. In fact, your penalty, I can penalize Abi, because this one is that before one, it should be before armed. So your penalty is that if you call, we will save your number, send it to NCC. Then they will block your line. Don't disturb us with your call. Just send text message, chicken. Go, my brother.
So there is this arrogance, this arrogance with our citizens sometimes. Like instead of they are supposed to be our servants, because it's our own taxpayers' money that they use for their upkeep and managing them.
Yes.
But you find out that in Nigeria the reverse is the case. And sometimes you begin to wonder, why is it so? You begin to wonder, why is it so? And it's really very, very, it's really an issue that must be taken care of. It's an issue of concern. I think part of the thing is also, when you look at you can say, let me even come on this issue of, you see politicians junketing from one platform to the other.
Yes.
Look at the coalition.
Yes.
This one only, Atiku has left PDP. He is going for a coalition. Before he has been in APC, he will go to PDP. All those type of free. And you find out, my worry is that sometimes you also find a lacuna, even within the law, within the constitution, where they can give some flimsy excuses. They will tell you that there is a problem in their
which
party.
is
That's
generally self-induced.
Yes.
In fact, the causes, if there is a word like that, it is also caused the trouble.
Yes, they are the ones that will induce the problem. And so those are
Mr. Ibrahim. Sorry, sir. Mr. Ibrahim, because of time.
Yeah.
I want him to weigh in.
Yeah.
Then we'll now use the next 5 minutes to now round.
Okay, for the way politicians
Yes, breaking democratic norms,
Exactly.
not behaving as it should be in other climes. It's not only in that you have political activity.
So it has to do with society itself.
Ah,
Like I said, that the political class is the same everywhere.
now so,
Yes, but how much of civic engagement are the populace involved in? That defines everything.
Okay.
In Kenya,
Mm.
the average Kenyan citizen is more politically aware
Mm.
than most Nigerians.
Mm.
And that is why when the government tried to impose a certain financial law that they felt would raise inflation, they were on the streets.
Very.
People died, but they resisted that attempt.
Mm.
And when they withdrew that
Immediately.
particular
Policy.
obnoxious law, which in Nigeria, I mean, we will be saying that's even nothing. Because we have had worse scenarios.
Yes.
Subsidy was removed.
Mm.
The parallel market and the official market of the naira collapsed at the same time. So the cost of living skyrocketed.
And what is happening?
We introduced all kinds of levies on any kind of transaction.
Increase the tariff for electricity.
Increase in tariff. Band A.
Mm.
I mean, so the woes of Nigerians continue to increase, and Nigeria has always shown perseverance
Resilience.
and resilience to cope. So, but the problem is that the politicians are now taking advantage of the nature of the Nigerian to persevere and to be foisting further hardship. So, it is a reflection of our society that has enabled and encouraged. So, we should be more involved in our civic engagement.
I say no call, you this man. I will send them to block you. Go ahead, Jerry.
So another aspect of the erosion of our values, which we mentioned before we came on air, is nepotism. You will notice that in 1999, the cabal that would have said was running the Obasanjo government was not reflective of any particular ethnic group. It was not ethnic based. It was more like the man-o-man business. Even under Jonathan, even when there were agitations that the South Side was saying this is our own, but again there were also diversity in that cabal. The NSA was Dasuki that was alleged to be in charge of the whole money that were being dispensed. Things became extremely bad under the 8-year rule of Buhari in terms of nepotism. It took Nigeria's democratic values down the drain.
Yes.
Extremely down the drain. And he has set a very bad precedent for future leaders. No wonder when Tinubu took over, what he did was also to reflect on Buhari's style of governance, where you surround yourself with people that you believe are from the whole ethnic side of the country. So that has not helped Nigeria as a country, but that will continue to polarize us.
Yes.
So we need to grow out of this primordial way of doing things. It is not healthy.
Yes.
We want to build.
So as we
What I have to
go,
point out is religion. Religion too is key.
yes, we'll go there. Maybe the little ones, what you have said today, maybe the way I see it, will ask the management of this station to give us this opportunity to come as a team again next week by the grace of God to now see how we can now take this home. But before we do that, I guess, okay, let's just do it that way. We'll take it home. So today, let us set up all the challenges that are on the path of political development. Then next week, by the grace of God, we'll now begin to offer solutions to them. So as we have just started, let us look at the religious aspect.
Okay.
The religious card.
Okay, we find situations where, our leaders have, consciously polarized us. They have polarized the talakawas.
Yes.
We the poor. They have polarized. Because if you look at yourself, you don't have any problem. I don't have any problem with the malam.
No way.
On this that is selling onions. Some of them are some security, some of them are your good friends, they are doing something. Then when it comes to election, you find them bringing all these primordial instincts. It's a problem.
Okay then.
And another problem too that I've also noticed, as a student at the University of Ibadan, I remember one of my lecturers, OVC Modis, he said, when you are, before you begin to talk of democracy, they have to democratize the stomach.
Yes.
Most of the Nigerians are hungry,
Yes.
and there is always a price on majority. That's why during elections, if somebody 1,000 is on the line to put it for you. When people are conscientized, and there are certain minimum things that they can afford. They can tell you go away with what you are giving them.
Comrade, religion, quickly. You have 2 minutes. Just
I will. Religion is one of the major crises we have, and I'm happy that you seated here. You're also a pastor somehow, and I think it's time that most of the pastors should start speaking out. The imam should start speaking out against bad governance. A situation where the government begins to pay some pastors to begin to speak in favor of them and telling the church members, always pray for your leaders, rather than saying curse your leaders. There should be a space for either curse or blessing. But you see, most of the time you go to churches to hear pastors saying, pray for your leaders, that they are not there by their own. It was God, it's God that brought them there. I mean, you begin to wonder where the pastors are even coming from, where the imams are coming from. So you, of course, you make religion look as if we don't know what we're doing. So many struggles would have come alive in this country if not for the intervention of pastors, imams, and trying to calm down people, bringing in biblical analysis and all those things. So you guys should also work on yourselves.
Yes, actually, I was trying to quote it very well, but unfortunately, time will not permit me. It is as pastors, the word of God is that we should pray for those in authority,
even when they are doing the wrong.
So that let me land. So that they will now govern well. Without praying for them, the spirit of Satan will take over their mind. And don't forget, John 10:10 is clear. The Satan has come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But it is prayer that will drive Satan away from them. Some of them have the mind of Satan. But when all of us collectively pray, prayer is still the master key. So let's leave that one. I'm happy you brought that one. Prayer is still what we'll do. But the next one and what we'll do, maybe that's what we'll look at next week, is that what are the action that we'll take as citizens to ensure that apart from prayer, we'll make our political leaders to now deal with us with the fear of God. Both Muslim and Christian believe in God. So let them deal with us with the fear of God. My brother. So that on that note, we want to say we thank you for being with us. But be that as it may, next week I'm sure we'll assemble this way by the grace of God, and then we'll now begin to see how we prefer solution. And for you to listen and take it too, because we are just putting you in touch about what steps to take so that together Nigeria can be a good place for us all politically.